What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another actually very exciting upload here. For many guys have been waiting for this video for weeks, if not even months actually. I've gotten questions about this video all the way back as March, which is pretty hard to believe actually, but this is my first winter discussion or my first winter thoughts here of the winter 2020 to 21. So this is not a preliminary forecast, way too early for that. This is just my thoughts. I'm not really giving a real forecast of my maps. I'm just going over the Enso outlook, all the AO, whether we can have a La Nina or neutral. That's the really big talk there. We're also going to be looking at the SSTs, all of that here, so I can give just a summary of what is likely here and what can we expect this winter, whether we have a neutral or La Nina. So this is what we're going to be talking about this video. If you really love winter videos, please smash that subscribe button, as we are going to get a lot more winter videos and also fall videos as we get more into July here. And by the end of July, I will most likely have my first preliminary winter forecast, so stay tuned for that very exciting upload. Also, be sure to subscribe, hit the post notification icon, and also hit the like button to show your awesome and great support. That really helps, and I really appreciate it. But without further ado, let's get into this very exciting upload. So this is the new Enso summary here, which obviously Enso is a very great slideshow to really help thoughts of fall and all of those seasons here. As you see, we are seeing Enso neutral conditions right now. We did see La Nina conditions earlier in June, but now we are seeing neutral conditions. So right now we're not even a El Nino or La Nina. And the thing about neutrals is that the winters and neutrals are different every single year, so can't really go a huge decision whether to Enso neutral. It really just depends on if you look at the future AOs, which obviously depends a lot. Obviously, the future SSTs and all of that really kind of depends on if it's neutral. As we see, equatorial sea surface temperatures, or SSTs are near to below average across the east and central eastern Pacific. If you take it that near to and just keep below average, that is when you're going to get a La Nina right there, which obviously will bring in very cooler temperatures for the Pacific Northwest and Northern Plains, and also La Nina will bring in a more active hurricane season, which we were expecting later on. This is the really big topic right here. This whole thing right here, this is the big one. We really need to help make a huge factor in the decision what we can see for my forecast. There's a 60% chance for an Enso neutral during the northern hemisphere summer. So we're not expecting to be at a La Nina until really get to the fall, really. So Enso, really this La Nina summer might not happen, which can obviously have a huge impact on this hurricane season that we thought was going to be a La Nina. It really got to the numbers, but then went back up, and it completely changed the whole really process of these tropical systems and all of that. We don't really care about the summer really, because this is a winter video. We want to know about the winter and the end of the season or the end of the year. 40 to a 50% chance of a La Nina or a neutral. That's not the last time we've had an equal chance for both, for two outcomes. Is it's been a while. Roughly equal chances for either a La Nina or a neutral. So really, not even the Enso outlook really knows what they're gonna possibly see during autumn and winter of 2020 to 21. So that's gonna be from September 20th, I believe, to all the way to March 21st. That we have a 40 to 50% chance for both of those there. Before I get on to the other models and AOs and all the explanation of that, we're going to be looking at the Enso outlook here for the probability. All these models are going to be showing the probability for potential equal chances of Enso neutral or La Nina beginning in August or roughly October. So really, if we do have a La Nina coming this summer, it'll be really late, maybe August or September, really. But it's really the big time frame, August, October, we can have a La Nina come in. Or neutral. It's equal chances, so we can very well stay as a neutral from now on all the way to the winter. Or we go down to that La Nina mark. So here are the models forecasting the probability here of that potentially having what we're going to be seeing for autumn and winter. As you see, the gray is neutral forecast probability. Blue is La Nina forecast probability. Those are the two things. La Nina or neutral are the biggest things. The biggest factors. Really, El Nino is not the talk this year. Oh, that was actually a really bad square. El Nino in the red is not a talk. You're not going to really hear the word El Nino much in this video. As you see, you can just tell that with the blue and gray, they're very close to each other. The farthest one is the MJJ with beyond a 70% chance for a neutral and a 25% for a La Nina. That's MJJ. But look at these other models right here. ASO to JFM. All these are just right, super close. Look at this. The sun model shows a 45% chance for each. For each, they show a 45% chance for it. Look, they're like tied. Same thing with JFM, they're tied. So models are really close to this. The only thing is JJA, MJJ, JAS, ASO. Those are the only ones. All these show a greater probability for neutral. These right here, these two right here do show a tie. These show tie, and then these show La Nina. Those show Nina, and those show neutral. So as you see, very close call, really. It's kind of hard based on the decision. I really think we're going to stay at a neutral until if we get a La Nina, it'll be most likely October or September. But I think we're going to continue this July through as a neutral. But look at this. We really hope that we get closer. These numbers will either go higher for one and then lower for the other, so we can have a great probability. Because at this point, it's kind of hard to say whether it's going to be a neutral or La Nina this winter, really. Here we're looking at the number right here that we have for the Nino 3.4 region here in the Central Pacific. As you see, we have now, since we've gone to this La Nina mark in early June and late May, and then skinning it in June. Ever since that, we've been going up and up and up on statistics. We're now at a positive number. We're at the positive side of a neutral. We are now at a weak neutral. A weak neutral is what we're at right now. We're at a strong neutral. I did not mean to say that. We are at a strong neutral right now. We're at a dead center neutral. Look at this number. Positive 0.028 has not even passed the 0.1 mark. It's a dead center neutral at this point. Dead center neutral. As first, it was a negative neutral the past couple days, with that being a negative 0.2 to a negative 0.4, and now it's just skyrocketed. So who knows? We're getting closer and closer to we're actually at a positive neutral at this point. And obviously, they're not going to go all the way up past negative 0 or positive 0.5 to be a El Nino. But the fact that it's going up a lot is showing that the chance for getting a La Nina are decreasing. And even if we do get a La Nina, the time or the time span is getting a lot longer. At this point, if we were at maybe right here, I'll say August. Maybe even July we can get that. But now it's all the way over here, all the way up here. And it's going to go all the way down here. I don't see it happening for the next 2 months, really. So, right now, we're at a very strong dead center neutral. So, if this continues on all the way to winter, could see most likely cooler temperatures for portions of the eastern United States, and then some warmer temperatures for the southwest and south central, likely. If this the La Nina kind of switches now, cooler temperature for the Pacific Northwest and all that, but I'm not going to spoil that because that's going to be later in the video there. So here we are. We're now explaining what each pattern will bring to the United States. We're all familiar with this, but for those new people, new weather nerds who don't really know, we're going to have when an El Nino, that is when we have very warm temperatures for portions of the Central Pacific. It's going to bring a subtropical jet stream here that's going to bring in very wet and cooler conditions. So that means El Nino, on average, El Nino is bringing more favorable conditions here for snow in the southeast and southern United States. So we really get, when you see an El Nino, when I see El Nino, likely I get excited. That means a better probability for snow, whether it kind of busts or it actually happens. So, and that's going to bring in a low pressure system right here, a jet stream here. That's going to bring in a big, large, high pressure system in the middle of the Midwest. That's going to bring in very, very warm temperatures here. Very warm temperatures. What this is kind of like a negative AO. It kind of is a negative Arctic oscillation. It kind of is, but kind of not. So really, this is just a El Nino pattern. This is what we expect. And then dry condition for the Great Lakes, so possibly less snow or less rain. But really, if you want wet conditions in the southern United States, you're going to want an El Nino. Let's go and check out now what a La Nina will bring here. Alright, so this is a La Nina pattern. So this is exactly what a La Nina will bring. So here's the La Nina pattern. It's completely opposite. Now it's bringing a polar jet stream that's going to bring in a high pressure system, making it very, very dry for portions of the Pacific Northwest. Have a high pressure system, and then we're going to have an incoming low pressure system that will develop in the Rockies or the West or even Canada, that can bring in really high amounts of moisture, demanding for moisture. We have that cold air set in place, and that low pressure develops, and it brings a lot of moisture. Boom, snow. There you got it. And look, that's where we can possibly see some really big snowstorms in this area. This region can get some really big snowstorms. You know why? Because we have very wet conditions for the Ohio and Tennessee Valley and portions of the Southeast, and that's going to bring in some snow, more snow for the Ohio Valley, more snow for the Great Lakes, and all of that. Complete opposite, very dry and warm. Obviously, the warmer it is in the Southeast, the lower the probability is for snow. And even without it, even in El Nino, the probabilities are slim depending where you live. My area, not too slim. I kind of have really an 80% chance for snow every single year, really. But a La Nina, I'll probably take that to a 60% chance for that year there. But that is La Nina. Let's go and check out now and take a look at the AOs and what Arctic oscillation means and all of that. But before we get into that, let's go and check out the current SSTs, or sea surface temperature anomaly here. As you see, we are seeing some disturbed, let's just say not something you want to see with La Nina. We're seeing some disturbed pockets of warm SSTs disturbing this pattern. Look at this. We're having a huge and a major warm up for the central and western Pacific, or southwestern Pacific. A major warm up. If we compare that to last year, it would be absolutely mental. Look at this major warm up. That's exactly why those numbers on the 3.0 region, El Nino 3.0 region, are skyrocketing up closer to a dead center neutral. We still have the very cool temperatures off the coast of South America, but first of all, we need those really cool temperatures to kind of go up to possibly -5 instead of at a -2 or -2.8. And look at this. We're seeing some pockets of really warm air, or sorry, not warm air, warm SSTs kind of developing in this cooler air, making it a lot less cooler and warmer. So this is exactly why. But if you really want to continue to see this neutral continue, then you're going to see you want it a lot more warmer. This cold air can possibly be a lot warmer by next week. But if you want a La Nina, you're really going to want these cooler temperatures to kind of get their act together, and get a lot cooler and expand. This is also going to have a huge impact on the tropical season here. But really, that's our current conditions right now. Let's go check out now what positive and negative AOs bring to the United States and what they mean. So this is actually a positive AO, which means a positive Arctic oscillation. What a positive Arctic oscillation means is that it continues to have very cold air, extremely cold air in the Arctic region, including Greenland, northern Canada, the whole Arctic Circle, really. That's exactly what a positive AO means. And also, it also brings in very, very cold temperatures as well for a portion of the Central Pacific, and for the western United States. So if positive AO is going to bring in very cold temperature for the northern hemisphere, way up there in the Arctic Circle, and then very cold temperature for the Pacific Northwest and western United States. That's going to bring possibly more snow and more La Nina-like conditions. But the catch is, that brings in a very warm central Canada, a very warm southern Canada, and that warm air from southern Canada is going to spill out. So we're going to kind of have a weird low-level jet like this. That low-level jet we saw on the La Nina description. We're gonna have that La Nina low-level jet, that polar jet string gonna come in, and that's gonna keep that cold air right here. It's gonna keep that cold air right there. Let me actually do that again. Alright, so that's gonna be the low-level jet. That's gonna keep this really warm air right there. Very warm air. Extremely warm temperatures for the eastern and central United States in a positive AO. That's exactly what you see. But in a negative AO, it's the complete opposite. In a negative AO is when you have warmer temperatures in the Arctic Circle, including northern Canada, including the Arctic Circle, including northern Canada, and also eastern Canada, also Greenland. This is where we see really warm temperatures there, struggling to get out of the Arctic area and having cooler replace it. But what that brings a very cold southern Canada and very cold United States in general. Really rare warm pockets of air. Really, you could be seeing some kind of pockets of warm air that can slip on through for the air to the Pacific Northwest. But this is what a negative AO brings. A negative AO, very, very cold temperatures for especially the south central portions of the eastern United States. So it's kind of a win for the south central and eastern United States. You guys really get the cool air for a negative AO. So this AO, or Arctic Oscillation, that also depends on what the winter can bring. And I'm also going to explain why this means this winter can be a lot different than last year. I'm going to go ahead and explain that. So everybody remembers how this winter was a complete bust. Complete bust. We're expecting record amounts of snow for the Northeast, extreme blizzards for the Northeast and Midwest, extreme amounts of snow in those areas. New York City, less than 5 inches this year. I got more snow than New York City. And we saw a very warm winter for the eastern United States and a very cold winter for the western United States. It was supposed to be the complete opposite. Complete opposite. You know why? You want to know why that was the case? Look what we had in March all the way to January. We had yet a negative AO. Look at that. A very strong positive AO. And we saw what a positive AO brings. Cool temperatures for the west. Very warm for the rest of the United States. Look at that. Look at that. That's exactly why. We were expecting that negative AO all winter long. But it took all the way to April to June for that negative AO to come. So we were right about the conditions. We just got the timing completely off. We got a late winter. I saw 40 degrees in May. You know why? Look what we had in May. A negative AO. It all explains why last year was a bust. We had the right prediction, just not the right time, not the right season. It felt like winter in May, April. It was a late winter. That's what we called it. And that's why we saw extreme warm fronts for May and April for the West. And we're still right now, as of portions of July, right now, NOAA forecast for the future of all the way to mid-July, a negative AO. So expect a little bit cooler conditions. Obviously, it's summer, so not going to be seeing 30s or 50s or 70s until overday heating. Or until the nighttime. That's when you see 70s and 60s and 50s. Obviously not 30s and 40s. But look at this. Negative AO all the way to portions of possibly the 10th of July. Maybe sooner than that. Maybe July 7th. But the thing is, does it go up to a positive AO all the way in fall? Well, no. We're not expecting that. We're expecting a negative AO. Not a super strong negative AO like all the way to a -5. Kind of like maybe a -2, a -3, because we're still expecting most likely a neutral. There's a 50-50 chance, really, of a neutral La Nina. So really, if it's a La Nina, we could very well see a positive AO. But if we see a neutral this year, negative AO. So really, we're really expecting I'm hoping we see a negative AO threat this winter, which means most likely a neutral, really. And that's what we're most likely expecting. This is why this year is not going to be a bust, because we are now expecting a 50-50 possibility. Last year, we were like, okay, it's going to be a very cold winter for the East. But nope, the pattern changed. So we're not going to be caught by surprise this year, because it's a 50-50 possibility. We need to see a negative or a positive AO. I don't think that's like every year, but this year is kind of hard. It's especially hard. It's like really not even the Enso outlook really has a big outlook or possibility there. So here's the next 1 to 5 day outlook right here. This is what the 1 to 5 day outlook here for the oscillation here, the Arctic oscillation. The next 1 to 5 days, we're expecting a negative AO, which is what we just saw, a negative AO until really the 7th of July. Look at that. You see the same pattern. Warm air for the west, and then cooler air for the eastern United States. So we are going to see that little cold front there, and then we have the major warm front I talked about yesterday. That doesn't really mean, just because we have a huge warm front doesn't mean it's going to be a positive AO all of a sudden. It's just that's how the pattern change works. So we are going to be seeing a strong low-level jet there, or a strong jet stream there, bringing the really cold air for the Great Lakes, the Midwest, and all the eastern United States. And look, we have a generally very warm Arctic Circle. We have some cooler pockets of air for Alaska and portions of western Canada. But really, look, the Arctic Circle, including Greenland, much of northern Canada, you guys are seeing above average temperatures. See, it's all adding up there. Now let's go and check out everything else into the video and seeing the future forecast there on models. So here we're looking at the weather models here. We're looking at the weather model forecast here, which is very, very accurate. This is going to be going all the way to the next 240 hours, seeing what we're expecting here, whether a negative AO or positive AO, just by looking at the temperatures here, the temperature anomaly. As you see right now, we're not really seeing much, really. We are seeing a very warm Arctic Circle, but really we're not seeing kind of the condition. We're still seeing a very warm eastern United States, really. So really don't expect a very strong, and sometimes you can't really tell what an AO is just because it's kind of different there. But as we now get in the next 72 hours, we kind of start to see a huge cool off in the Arctic Circle. Let me tell you that, possibly 6-7 degrees below average. And then then we have this huge cold air pocket, which will be heading to the west, which is also something you see in a positive AO. And then we're seeing the huge warm air for eastern and also eastern U.S. and eastern Canada. So kind of looks like we're starting to see a positive AO by the time we get into July 8th. So then, by tomorrow in the future AO, we can possibly see now a positive AO. Look, very cool Arctic Circle, very cold Arctic Circle, and then we're having a cold Pacific Northwest, which is exactly what you expect in a positive AO, and a very warm eastern U.S. and Canada. So it tends that we can possibly be heading to a positive AO by July there, and it's going to be maintaining there by July 11th, positive AO, or not. It's not going to be a very strong AO, but we're going to be seeing a very cold Arctic Circle, or a mostly cold Arctic Circle, and then some cooler air of the Pacific Northwest, and then very warm air for the rest of the United States there. And then as we get all the way now into July 13th, this is when we start to see a bit more of a stronger positive AO. We're seeing up to 20 degrees below average now for the Arctic Circle here. And all we need is Greenland to warm up, or all we need is Greenland to cool off a little bit, and then boom, very strong. This is a very defined positive AO, let me tell you that. Very extremely cold temperature for the Pacific Northwest, possibly 9 to 15 degrees below average. Very cold Arctic Circle, except a little bit of Greenland. The whole Arctic Circle doesn't have to be below average, just most of it. And then look, very, very warm eastern Canada and the rest of the United States. It's simple. It's really easy to tell there. Now let's go and check out the tropical tidbits here, and we move that really quickly here. This is now the forecast here in the next couple of months. Let me move that a little bit just like that. So this is what we're going to be seeing. Obviously, this anomaly changes a lot. So obviously, winter doesn't end until March, so kind of far to trust this. But we're just looking at what models have to show and have to offer. This is now the next month here. As you see, very cold general temperature for the western United States, and then very warm eastern U.S. and Canada. Doesn't mean we're going to be seeing a positive AO, just mean heading towards that pattern. As we now get later and now to the winter months, look at this. Look at this. Very interesting. Extreme cold front. Extreme cold blast. That could be, we could head into that negative AO like we expect. So that will be showing either a neutral. And then as we continue to go on to the winter, look, we have a very cold northern United States there. So it could be heading into maybe in between a negative and positive AO there. We're going to continue to monitor that very closely. But I hope you guys did enjoy the video, though. Please don't have to like and subscribe. Hope you guys are really excited for winter, as I am very excited for winter there. But hope you guys did enjoy the video, and bye, guys.